meet my bride. Let's go for a ride in my newfangled automobile. Just where we will go, nobody knows, but it's sure a great way to feel. Behind the wheel of the speed meter steel, it's my newfangled automobile.
Hello and welcome to Vintage Car History. I'm Wild Bill, and I was recently asked by a friend of mine, hey, you keep talking with your hands on your channel. I mean, how come you haven't talked about any Italians? Well, we're going to change that right now. And I think we should start with the man who built a car company so huge that for decades it was the largest company of any kind in Italy. This man found his passion in the motor car, and his legacy continues strong to this day. So grab some pasta and a good bottle of wine, because we're going to chat about the true Italian automotive kingpin, Giovanni Agnelli. He was born into a locally influential family in 1866 in the town of Villa Perosa, where his father was the mayor. The family had some money, and although Giovanni's father, Eduardo, died when he was only 5 years of age, he was left with both the trust fund and notice in high places to build a career. He went to college in Turin, graduating in 1885 with both business and engineering skills. Due to his family connections, he secured an appointment to the Italian Military Academy in Modena, where after going through the equivalent of officer training, you know, kind of like the movie An Officer and a Gentleman, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Italian Army and began service as a cavalry officer. Once he made it to his unit, he found a quick friend in Giulio Gropello, another young officer that in his case had come from a family of minor Italian nobles. Both were well educated, young, and quite rambunctious. And the rumor is that these two were nothing but trouble. Serious pranksters. I mean, imagine a regiment of cavalrymen all riding in formation but sitting on their saddles backwards. That kind of stuff. Yeah, both of these men were natural gearheads as well. And early in 1892, they were at a cafe in the city of Padua when, of all things, a tricycle went by with a gas engine on it. The rider wasn't pedaling. These guys saw that and said to each other, "This is the coolest thing ever!" Well, they may not have said it in those exact terms, but hey, come on, you get the idea. So these two hatched a plan. They would build a metal horse to put in parade. That would be absolutely guaranteed to get under any Generalissimo's collar. But there was a problem. Neither of them had the specific expertise nor the facilities to actually pull it off. They would have to get very creative, something they were both good at doing. As luck would have it, Giovanni had in his family a loyal servant named Scotto. Giovanni asked his servant to keep an eye out for opportunities. Well, the one that Scotto found was, a bit iffy. Not long after this, Scotto was taking a wagon of trash to the dump and in the process passed a scrap iron pile. Sitting in the pile was a Daimler single-cylinder engine. It was seized up, of course, but he grabbed the engine and got word to Giovanni of his find. This was embraced by Giovanni and his friend Giulio, and they gathered the engine and snuck it onto base. As I mentioned, it was not a working engine. But these guys, including Scotto, the faithful servant, disassembled that engine into its individual pieces, determined not only to see how it was supposed to work, but also see why it wasn't and fix the problem. And they had mixed success. They put it back together, started it up, and it worked! Woohoo! It ran perfectly well for a good 20 minutes while they celebrated in a manner that Italian cavalry officers are accustomed to. And after that 20 minutes, the engine blew up. Literally. Shrapnel went everywhere, seriously wounding Scotto. This was a problem, as the Italian army wasn't happy about either the experiment in the barracks or the result with a civilian involved. Young Mr. Agnelli was informed that he could either leave the army or face an investigation, and he did the wise thing. He left the army and went back home in 1893. Once back home in Villa Perosa, he was, like his fathers before him, elected mayor, a position he held for the rest of his life. And this kept him connected with the affluent of Italy. Of course, he hadn't forgotten about what got him excused from the army, and automobiles were just beginning to emerge on the international scene, and he wanted a piece of the action. As it turns out, there was another Italian nobleman wanting to start a car company, a certain Emanuele Casciano, and he had the money, but not the people with the engineering skills or business leadership to pull it off. Giovanni saw his opportunity. He partnered up with the good count, and in 1889, along with a few other investors, founded what would become the largest company in the nation of Italy. Società Italiana per la Costruzione e la Commercione delle Automobili a Torino. Oh, yeah. Well, thankfully, after less than a year, that most mouthful got shortened to Fabbrica Italiana Automobili Torino. Giovanni Agnelli was one of the founders of this company, and throughout the rest of his life would be the man that guided the engineering, marketing, and growth of the company that would become known around the world by its acronym, Fiat. Thanks for watching Vintage Car History. We'll see you next week. Peace.